Although Jon Rahm reportedly signed a £450 million contract with LIV Golf last month, Padraig Harrington, his former Ryder Cup captain, thinks the Spanish player is well worth the money. Padraig Harrington thinks LIV Golf did not overpay for their most recent mega contract addition, Jon Rahm, despite the Spaniard's alleged £450 million, $600 million deal. In December, Rahm became perhaps the biggest coup for LIV to date when the Masters champion decided to sign a contract with the breakaway league. By agreeing to the third highest sports contract in history, the Spaniard cemented his place in history. Rahm is not the first PGA Tour star to make the Saudi switch, with the 29-year-old following in the footsteps of the Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson as big-name major champions to move on. They signed a big contract to make the jump, just like Rahm, but none bigger than the one given to the current green jacket winner. The mouth-watering sum was too good to refuse for the Spaniard, and Harrington thinks Rahm's capture is well worth the money. This Rahm's signing is the biggest player LIV Golf have got, the biggest shift, the Irishman stated to Mirror Sport. They didn't overpay for Jon Rahm because it was seismic the shift in people's opinion with him going. You could argue with other players, but Rahm, a dependable player, stated he wasn't going. Even though he isn't the best player in the world, it appears that he will be in the top 2 or 3 for the next 10 years. It was well worth it, whatever they had to pay for him. Harrington acknowledged LIV's astute market maneuver in luring in one of the top players in the world, but he does think the deal may have some ramifications in the future. Rahm is not the first to pen a lucrative deal, with Mickelson and co. also landing contracts worth in excess of £100 million following their move. None of course are bigger than the Spaniards, but with the Saudis clearly happy to pay, this could leave both LIV's current crop and future signings also wanting more. The interesting thing for me is that it sets a very high anchor price for future players, and current players who are going to renegotiate, Harrington added. They are going to renegotiate every 3 years for the players that are there, they haven't bought them for life. For LIV as well, the issues might not end there. Following the announcement of the Shock Framework Agreement in June of last year, the PGA Tour is currently in the midst of negotiations with the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia, PIF, to finally collaborate with their LIV rivals. It is anticipated that the tour will reinstate the players it had previously suspended for switching to Saudi Arabia as part of the agreement. Thus, Harrington believes that the players' negotiating power will only increase if the PGA Tour can soon guarantee LIV star men a spot back on the circuit. As long as the PGA Tour gives some way back to the LIV players, it makes them very expensive for LIV, he commented. If guys come to renegotiate and they only have LIV, they don't have a great negotiating plate. Whereas if the PGA Tour says, yes, you can come back and we are not going to overly penalize you, if they have this way back to the tour, it means their price to LIV is very expensive. The ongoing saga of men's professional golf has its latest chapter in the ongoing negotiations between the tour and PIF. The parties involved recently missed the deadline of December 31 to finalize a deal. Harrington has proposed an independent adjudicator who is not involved in the game of golf as a way to finally resolve the agreement as frustrations within the game increase. Someone independent needs to lay down the rules, he continued. Due to their mutual bias, it will be difficult for the two sides to negotiate amongst themselves. Someone in the sports world who is unrelated to golf must say, okay, this is what you are going to do.